Hello and welcome to Newsmax TV. I'm John Bachman. Joining us right now from Austin, Texas is Texas Attorney General Greg Abbott. He's considered the front runner to replace current Governor Rick Perry. Mr. Abbott, thanks for being with us.
Hey, John, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, so people familiar with your story know that you've overcome a personal tragedy to get where you are today. In fact, I read that you kicked off officially your gubernatorial campaign on the 29th anniversary of the day that tree fell on you while you were running, which left you partially paralyzed. Why did you decide to officially begin your campaign on that day?
Well, that day is significant because, as you mentioned, it's the anniversary of the accident that put me in a wheelchair. And part of my campaign is based upon the theme of overcoming challenges. I've been able to overcome a life-transforming challenge that broke my back and go on to become a Supreme Court Justice and now Attorney General and now a candidate for Governor for the state of Texas. Similarly, people in the state of Texas face challenges every day. Could be economic challenges, could be family challenges, could be physical challenges, whatever the case may be. I symbolize what all Texans can and do and live every single day, and that is face challenges and overcome them. And we will continue to do that as a state, as a people, and I will be representative of Texans accomplishing just that.
Well, it's an inspiring story nonetheless. From a legal standpoint, you also have developed a reputation as being one of the biggest and sharpest thorns in the side of the Obama administration. You sued over Obamacare, EPA regulations, the Voting Rights Act, and there's been other lawsuits as well. Do you get a kick out of suing the administration?
John, I wish I didn't have to do it. The reason I have to do it is because the Obama administration seems insistent on trampling the United States Constitution. Actually, I've sued the Obama administration a total of 28 times. And the reason for that is because repeatedly the Obama administration refuses to cause their administration to follow the United States Constitution. And someone needs to hold them accountable, and I am up to that task.
Yeah, you certainly have not shied away from every opportunity to do that. Let's focus on the Voting Rights Act a little bit. Following the Supreme Court's decision, there's been swift action from Texas and then in response from the Justice Department and Attorney General Eric Holder. Holder is still pushing for what's called pre-clearance in Texas, or special scrutiny on election laws even after the High Court's ruling. Are you looking forward to the challenge from Holder on this?
This is just amazing what they're doing because as you noted, John, just 2 months ago, the United States Supreme Court came out with a decision saying that Texas and 8 other states are no longer required to follow what's called pre-clearance or pre-approval under Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act. And now, on the heels of that, Holder is coming into Texas trying to force Texas under ongoing federal supervision of our election laws. It's as though the Obama administration wants to keep Texas under their thumb for our election laws. And I got to tell you, John, there is a political reason behind this. They know that Texas is trying to enforce a voter ID law requiring people to show an ID when they go vote. I think that the Obama administration must be concerned that we're going to shut down illegal voting in the state of Texas, and they somehow are against that. And so this is highly troubling to see what the Obama administration is doing to try to prevent Texas from enforcing our voter ID law.
Now, the Federal Appeals Court had tossed out that voter ID law, and there are also plenty of people out there who say the existing provisions of the Voting Rights Act that still remain intact do allow the Attorney General to do this. Do you see this working its way back to the Supreme Court to deal with some of these other issues that Holder appears willing to press?
Well, first, you made a very important point, and that is, even though the United States Supreme Court said that the Section 5 pre-approval process is no longer required, the remainder of the Voting Rights Act does still apply. And so we still have these protections to ensure there is no discrimination, no illegal activity taking place by the state concerning your voting rights. And it's important for everyone to know that everyone's voting rights will be protected here in Texas as well as across the country. But the second thing that you mentioned is that, do I expect this to work its way back to the United States Supreme Court? And the answer is yes. You know, we've been there so many times already under my administration against the Obama administration at the United States Supreme Court. We've prevailed every single time. I anticipate this case making its way back to the United States Supreme Court, and once again, we will prevail.
Still a lot of life left in that particular debate, so we'll see what happens there. I also want to talk about the issue of redistricting. It's not a new one for you. And in fact, you've had some disagreements with other Texas Republicans about adopting these voting districts drawn by federal judges instead of the districts that were drawn by the Republican-dominated Texas state legislature. But why would Texas why would Texas lawmakers yield to federal judges on this? That's what you've advocated for. That seems like a very un-Texas thing to do.
Well, what happened is that when the lines first came out 2 years ago, there were judicially ordered modifications, and we believe that the modifications that were made by the judges correct for any possible potential allegation of illegality. And so the main thing we want to achieve is certainty and legality in the election maps that Texas will be using. But John, I got to tell you what my real concern is the way the Democrats have used the Voting Rights Act to kick out of office 5 Hispanic Republicans. We have people like Raul Torres, John Garza, Jose Aliceta, Kiko Canseco, all tossed out of office by partisan Democrats claiming they're just trying to protect the Voting Rights Act, when in reality what they're trying to do is replace Hispanic Republicans with Democrats.
Interesting point there. I'm not really up to speed on that, but that's certainly worth taking a look at. The Texas legislature also received a lot of national attention recently when a debate over abortion laws was initially blocked by Texas lawmaker and Democrat Wendy Davis. That law has since passed, but one side effect of this debate is that Davis is now one of the rising stars of the Democratic Party on a national level. She's mulling her own gubernatorial run. Is Davis someone that your campaign has taken seriously as a potential candidate, especially now that she's getting more attention from national Democrats?
I got to tell you, John, we go to work every day not really focusing on who the potential competition may be. We focus on the constituents in the state of Texas. My goal during the campaign and my goal as governor will be looking for what we need to do to help the people of the state of Texas. And it really doesn't matter what other people say, what other people do. My goal is single-minded, and that is making sure Texas remains the top state in the country for doing business. We remain a state that believes in and supports low taxes and less government.
Now, I know that current Texas Governor Rick Perry has floated some ideas of his own about handling immigration in the state of Texas. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about immigration reform and what difficulties you're finding with the current laws in place and what frustrations you have by the lack of immigration reform to deal with questions and concerns about the 11 million illegal immigrants that are currently here in this country and the border crossings that are obviously a huge problem in the state of Texas.
Sure. Well, you pretty much hit the nail on the head right there, because Texas is involved with the immigration issue in ways that so many other states are not, because we are right on the border. And obviously we have in this country a completely broken immigration system. And the United States Congress must get the job done about correcting our immigration system. But you talk about, what challenges do we see? Because we are on the border, we see the constant influx of people coming across the border. And John, I need to underscore something for you, and that is, it's not just, let's say, migrant farm workers from Mexico. We got people coming in from countries around the entire world. We have people coming in from terrorist-based nations into the United States through the Texas-Mexico border. It is essential that we be able to seal this border to secure our fellow Americans. But at the same time, John, we're seeing in the state of Texas dramatically escalated cartel activity and cartel-related crime and corruption. And we need to stamp all of that out by doing a better job of securing our border.
Now, there is this debate on the national level among Republicans. Some say that the immigration system that we have now would be better than, let's say, the Senate immigration bill that's been passed. And some are even urging the House to sit on their hands and do nothing on immigration reform. You said that the Congress must get something done here. You would like to see Congress and the president sign some sort of immigration reform bill to deal with the current intrinsic issues that we already have with our immigration system. Is that correct?
Well, I think it's clear that our current system is completely broken, and that the United States Congress is the authority in this country that has to step up and pass a new law, and we expect them to do their job, get the job done to improve the immigration system that we have in this country.
Now, on that same kind of general topic, some pollsters have pointed to Texas, along with states like Georgia, Florida, moving from clear-cut red states to more moderate purple states, Florida to a lesser degree, and a result of that is increasing immigrant and minority populations. That said, with the current Texas legislature seemingly moving to the right on issues like voting districts and abortion laws, are you at all concerned about any longer-term consequences for Texas Republicans that might arise from those issues?
A lot of those theories about Texas turning blue are based upon the hypothesis that the growing Hispanic population in the state is going to lean Democrat. And I think that's a false premise. And the reason why we see that is because Texas has a long history of being tied together with the Hispanic community. Of course, Mexico was in control of the territory of Texas before Texas was its own republic and before Texas was a state. And so our working relationship with the Hispanic community has been around for centuries. But more importantly, the Hispanic community in the state of Texas is based upon solid conservative principles. The principles of faith, the principles of family, the principles of free enterprise. Those are the principles that connect with the Republican Party, not the Democrat Party. And so we believe that as we move forward for another decade or two, you're going to see the Hispanic community increasingly connect with the Republican Party. And to double back, that's what I was talking about earlier. The Republicans in Texas have begun electing a lot of Hispanics. And I think the Democrats view that as very threatening to them. And so they're using whatever legal tools they possibly can to try to divide the Republican Party and the Hispanic community in the state of Texas. But I don't think that their political strategy is going to work.
Certainly the sands are shifting. Last question for you. Whoever wins this race will be the first new Texas governor in over a decade. I'm not trying to take anything away from Governor Perry here, but what do you think will be the most important benefit from having some fresh eyes, some new blood, however you want to describe it, in the Texas governor's mansion?
Well, John, I got to tell you, I just bring a completely different perspective. Part of it we talked about earlier, and that is the fact that I've been able to overcome a challenging disability brings a perspective of going to work every day and fighting for all Texans. Another, John, is that I am married to a Latina, which shows that connection with the Hispanic community. If I'm elected, my wife will be the first Latina in the governor's mansion in the state of Texas history. And so it shows our ability to reach out to the broader community and be so inclusive in this state.
All right. Well, Texas Attorney General and Republican candidate for governor Greg Abbott, I wish you the best of luck on your campaign. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you so much, John.
Thank you for watching Newsmax TV.